Hello, Year 10 Mockingbirds and Persepolis. I'm going to give you feedback here for Lesson 1, which seemed like you had a lot of trouble with it. So I'm going to let you know from the very beginning. When you look at the comparison between To Kill a Mockingbird and Persepolis, almost every time, or maybe even every time I give it to you, it's going to be a comparison of we like Scout and we don't like Marjan. Now, there's a number of reasons behind this, and I don't want to talk too much about Persepolis, and it's not appropriate to talk yet because the revolution hasn't really set in and ruined her life at this point. But Marjan is not a likable character, and I think that that's why we don't like the book. And one of the first things I wanted you to be able to do in this lesson is to be able to see, here's an example where each one of the protagonists get into a confrontation with a boy. They're girls. They get into a confrontation with a boy. The girl is the aggressor in the violence. And a family member intervenes. Now, those are similarities. Those are some really specific similarities. So, what can we tell about these characters? Do we learn the same thing? Pretty much everybody that I read the paper said, yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's the same. And to me, the differences are very striking. So follow along with me here. Try to pay attention. As I pointed out, the similarities are that they both involve a conflict between a boy and a girl. The girl is the aggressor, and a family member intervenes. Let's look at Marjan first. I would make the point of Marjan presents herself as a bully who thinks that people should be attacked for the actions of their parents. And when she's stopped from hurting an innocent child, she does not apologize, but instead she forgives him as though he's done something wrong when he hasn't. All right? Even if something wrong has been done, it's his father who's done it, not Ramin. Now, first the context. Marjan discovers that Ramin's father was a Savak, the Shah's secret police, and that he tortured and killed members of the opposition. So in the content, Marjan gets two of her friends. They arm themselves with nails like brass knuckles to attack him. Notice these are nails like brass knuckles and attack. These are quotes. And then after her mother intervenes, she goes back to Ramin and says, I forgive you. It's another quote. Not I'm sorry. I forgive you. And when he says he has nothing to be ashamed of, she looks at herself in the mirror and repeatedly reminds herself that she has to forgive him. She has to forgive him after she set after him with a gang to attack him with weapons. Scout, on the other hand, is seen as an impetuous, just prone to do things impetuously tomboy who's mostly nice, but's willing to fight a boy if she sees the need to. First, the context. Scout has just helped Walter. He was having a hard time dealing with the teacher, probably because he's shy. Anyway, Scout helps him, and this gets her into trouble with the teacher. So she's angry at Walter for something bad that happened to her. So the content, she pushes Walter down and rubs his nose in the dirt. You'll notice no weapons, no ganging up with other kids, no real attempt to hurt Walter. So Jem intervenes. Scout pleads her case. I should be doing this. But once she calms down, she says she won't fight Walter anymore and invites him home to lunch. And says, you like butter beans? Our cow's a real good cook. I was really hoping that you would be able to clearly see the difference between those two things. If you couldn't, hopefully you can see it now, because for lesson 2, you're going to have to do something very similar. Again, we're going to have a situation where here's the protagonist. Both Marjan and Scout are interacting with an uncle who they like. Look at that interaction. Look at how it's portrayed and say, it tells us different things about these characters. Although, once again, Scout and Marjan are both the same age and having a conversation with an uncle that they like, we're learning two different things about these characters. I hope you understand what I mean. Looking forward to your response. Email me if you have any questions.